So what does it really take to build a supply chain that just won't break? Today, we're diving into some fascinating research that shows how you can design systems that don't just get through a crisis, but can actually come out stronger.
We have all been there. You walk into a store, head to your usual aisle, and poof, the shelf is totally bare. It can feel so random, right? But it's almost always a sign that a really complex, hidden system somewhere has hit a snag. We're going to unpack the math and the strategy being used to stop that from happening. Okay, so before we can build an unbreakable supply chain, we got to understand what we're dealing with. A supply chain is basically the entire long journey a product takes to get to you. Think about it, from the raw materials to the factory to the distributor, all the way to your hands. It's this massive, interconnected network. And as we've all learned recently, that network can be incredibly fragile.
Yeah, these supply chains are constantly under threat from all sides. The source material for this explainer puts these risks into two big buckets. First, you've got your natural risks, things like a hurricane wiping out a port or an earthquake shutting down a factory. And then you've got the man-made risks, which is everything from industrial accidents and worker strikes all the way to wars that can disrupt the flow of goods for months or even years. So how on earth do you protect a system against all that chaos? Well, researchers are focused on building what you might call a superhero supply chain. And this superhero has two very distinct powers. It has to be both robust and resilient. Now, they might sound like the same thing, but the difference between them is absolutely crucial. First up, we've got robustness. The best way to think about this is just pure strength. A robust supply chain is built like a tank. It's designed to take a direct hit and not even flinch. It's all about stopping a disruption from ever turning into a real problem to begin with.
And the second superpower is resilience. This one is all about flexibility and a quick recovery. A resilient supply chain might get hit and it might bend, sure, but it's designed to absorb that shock and then spring right back to normal. This isn't about brute force. It's about being agile. So let's put them side by side to make it super clear. Robustness is like a fortress wall. Its whole job is to resist the attack. Resilience, on the other hand, is like a shock absorber in a car. Its job is to recover from the bump and keep everything moving smoothly. To build something truly unbreakable, you're going to need both. Okay, so that's the theory, but how do you actually build this thing in the real world? Well, the research we're exploring lays out a very clear, methodical path, and it all begins with the most important part of any chain, choosing the right partners, your suppliers. The researchers created this really elegant three-stage framework. Step 1, you evaluate and rank all your potential suppliers to see who's the most dependable. Step 2, you use that info to build a mathematical plan that can actually handle uncertainty. And step 3, you unleash powerful algorithms to find the absolute best, most optimal way to make it all work. Let's start with stage 1. It made sense, right? You can't build a resilient network with unreliable partners. So the very first step is to score your potential suppliers on 5 key skills, the abilities that really show how well they'll perform when the pressure is on. And here's where it gets really interesting. Using a special method to weigh opinions from experts, the researchers gave each skill an important score. And check out what came out on top. Integrity, which means things like collaboration and open communication, was ranked as the single most critical skill. Right behind it was agility, or speed. That tells you so much. It's not just about being strong. It's about being a good, fast, reliable partner. So once every supplier gets a score on those 5 skills, you end up with this, a clear, data-driven ranking. Suddenly, the decision isn't just a gut feeling anymore. You have a prioritized list of your most resilient partners, ready for you to build your network around. All right, on to stage 2. You've got your A team of suppliers picked out. Now you need a plan. And not just a plan for a good day. You need a plan that can survive the worst days imaginable. You have to literally plan for the unknown. The tool for this job is called robust optimization. And you can think of it like a stress test for your entire business plan. It's a mathematical strategy that helps you make decisions that stay solid and profitable even when you hit them with the absolute worst-case scenario. A sudden spike in demand, a key factory goes down, you name it. Now, at the heart of this plan are 2 goals that are kind of pulling in opposite directions. Goal number 1, obviously, is to maximize your profit. But goal number 2 is to maximize your overall resilience, which means using more of those high-scoring suppliers we just found. The whole challenge is finding that perfect, delicate balance between the two. And that brings us to the final stage, actually finding that perfect balance. With all these variables in play, you can't solve this with a spreadsheet. So the researchers set up a contest. They pitted two powerful computer algorithms against each other to see which one could find the best solution faster and better.
So meet the contenders. In one corner, we have NSGAII. It's a genetic algorithm that basically mimics evolution. It creates generations of possible solutions, and only the fittest ones survive to create the next, even better generation. In the other corner, we have MOPSO, a particle swarm algorithm. This one acts more like a flock of birds searching for food. All these little particles explore the possibilities and share info with each other to zero in on the best spot. So who won the showdown? Well, the results were pretty decisive. Based on this key performance metric from the paper, where a lower score is better, you can see the genetic algorithm, NSGAII, consistently found much higher quality solutions. It wasn't even close.
Yep, after running all the rigorous statistical tests, the conclusion was crystal clear. For this specific, really complicated job of designing a resilient supply chain, the genetic algorithm was just the superior tool. Hands down.
So, after all that complex modeling, all that analysis, what's the big discovery? What's the treasure at the end of this whole quest? Well, it turns out to be something that really challenges an old and very common assumption in the business world.
This is the classic dilemma, isn't it? Everybody thinks that building in all this resilience, having backup suppliers, planning for disasters is like buying an expensive insurance policy. It's something that just eats away at your profits. But is that actually true?
And the answer, according to the final results of this study, is a massive no. I mean, just look at this quote pulled directly from the paper's conclusion. It says that the best solutions showed that profit and resilience are not enemies. In fact, they can grow at the same time.
So here it is. This is the single most important takeaway from all of this. You don't have to choose between being profitable and being prepared. By using these smart, data-driven methods to pick your partners and design your network, you can build a system that is both more profitable and more prepared for a crisis. It's not a trade-off. It's a genuine win-win.
This kind of incredible research is happening behind the scenes, all the time, turning complicated math into real-world stability. So the next time a storm hits or some big crisis is unfolding, and you can still find what you need on the shelf, you'll know it probably wasn't just luck. It was by design.